Welcome everyone to today's LinkedIn Live. I'm so excited to be here with my friend Krusha from India. We are here to talk about projecting your power and giving you some tips and tactics and strategies to help you unleash your confidence so you can come across and feel consistently confident every day. Krusha and I have been planning this for months, and
Yeah.
we're so excited to be able to finally bring this to you. So, thanks so much for everyone for being here. If you are just joining us, please let us know where you are from in the world, and we would love to highlight any questions as well if you have them throughout, and we're happy to answer those. So, I am a career coach and corporate trainer, and I help women to build their confidence on stage and in the boardroom and help corporations to improve their public speaking and their meetings and team communication overall. And I just have a huge passion for helping women to be successful in their lives. And Krusha, you also have similar beliefs. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yes, I think we have that in common, and that's what brought us here. I am an ICS certified career and life coach, basically help women with their goals. So just help them plan, set goals in their personal and professional life and help them accomplish it. So super passionate about that myself to see more women figure a way to have their version of it all.
Yeah, love it. That's such a myth that women can't have it all, right? Women get asked that question like, how do you do it all, or can you really have it all, whereas men, it's just assumed that they can. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's one of the things that I believe attracted us to each other is those limiting beliefs that we sometimes were taught, whether
Yeah.
intentionally or not, from parents or just society in general, that have held us back, but we've learned from and are able to now teach other people.
For
So
sure.
excited to be able
I
to do
think, even every time this having it all comes up, I think it's so interesting because I've been thinking about this more lately. I had a baby a couple of months ago,
that. Oh,
and
congratulations.
thank you. And obviously, that kind of set into perspective even more everything I've believed in so far, because that's kind of a pivotal point, right? Where we also see, especially in India, I know this, I know it's global, but even in India, I see the stats drop at that point. We have a lot of women who leave the workforce and re-question having it all, and there's so much that goes into that. But I feel like, what you just said, I've heard that all along as well, that men go along without being asked that question. And the more I think about it, I feel like I don't think they really have it all that way either. They think they do, but if you're not sharing the other side of the load, and if you're not there, for your baby, you, for example, if that's the thing, then you're missing out on that. So you
Yeah.
have that, or you just have that as a checkbox, that you have
Mhm.
a kid or kids, which is something I've been thinking about lately.
Yeah, if you're not engaged in the
Yeah,
relationship,
is it really
then
yours?
yeah, you're not.
How much
Yeah.
of it is having it all? Like, I see my
Yeah.
husband being so present because he has that much paternity leave and everything else that we obviously talk about, and I think that's how he has it all, right? Because we can share both aspects of that.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. If you are just now joining us, please comment where you are joining from, where in the world, and feel free to ask us questions live. We are happy to answer those. We'll be ending at about the 30-minute mark. So if you are here, feel free to ask us questions until then, and there will be a replay. So let's go into some of like these stories that both of us have learned over the
Mhm.
years. What, challenges that we face, limiting beliefs, and what it is that we've done to overcome them, and what we teach our clients to help them go through the process to help them feel more confident every day and own their power. So I'll let you go first. What challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
I think never an exhaustive list. I think we discover new ones every year, every couple of months, but a few come to mind. I think I was fairly lucky, given, when I say fairly lucky, given my background, in the sense of the way I've grown up, and I see a lot of people, a lot of women around me who didn't grow up with the same belief system that was instilled in them. I think I got that a lot, and I see that now, in perspective. And I'm super grateful for being praised for things other than what are typically considered like it was not about cooking, or it was not, maybe because I was not a good cook, but it was not about you're a good cook, or you take care of the house well, or you're a good girl, you listen to everyone. It was more about you're really good at writing, or you're really good at speaking, and
Yeah, like your
things that,
skills
yeah, my skills, or
outside of the
it
home.
wasn't. Yeah, of course I got my share of, it was just about how you, like, parts of how you look, or that I was sincere, or I didn't create a lot of confrontation or commotion at places. I think there was that share as well. But yeah, so I think for me it was, when we talk about that belief, it wasn't from ground zero. I think I had a decent level of confidence because of those beliefs, but it came with, as long as everyone else is okay as well. Like, you can have, you're doing
Yeah,
a great job, but
it's conditional.
yeah, that's conditional. That takes a while for you to even realize that exists, or
Yeah.
that you were told that in some form.
Yeah, like you're allowed to be happy if you're putting everyone first, or
Mm,
you're allowed to shine if you've already put the spotlight on everyone else.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that you see that as you grow up, and I see it with a lot of women I coach also now, right? It's like, I hear this so much sometimes. So in India, we also sometimes have an arranged marriage setup, which works great sometimes for people. But I've also seen when they go into these conversations initially, and I'm saying arranged marriage, not like it wouldn't happen with love marriage, but it's just because it's those conversations happen very early on in an arranged marriage, right?
Mhm.
And I've seen people talk about, of course we'd let you work, or of course you can work, asterisk, as long as the house is
Yeah.
okay, and you're prioritizing the child, you're prioritizing being there for the social event. As long as you're doing all that, of course you can work. You can take
Yeah.
that other time of yours, and of course you can work. But it needs to be the other way around, right? You need to be making that choice, and I think that that comes in a lot, as long as.
Yeah, so true. It's all, yeah, conditional as long as all of these other things are really the priority, which just like places a lot of guilt and shame on us and a lot of pressure
Yes.
because we have to,
Mm,
right, the men don't always necessarily have the same pressure
mm,
to, like, it's just about like you went to work, you brought home a paycheck. And I'm sure there's further mentality around it. As I've talked to men, like
yeah.
getting their perspective and life experiences, there's complexity to it, just as there is
Mm,
complexity to our challenges.
yeah.
But yeah, there's less pressure around childcare and things like that. I'm
Yeah,
very
it's also
blessed
like
that
a
my
token.
husband really enjoys being a
Yes.
father, um, and he's a great dad, and very supportive when I decided, because I was taught as a child, like, you're supposed to be a stay-at-home mom, you're supposed to, um, you know, make, having kids a priority, all of these things. But then when
Mm,
I went into business, I was like, oh my goodness, this is like my purpose.
mm.
And so he was just like, that's fine. Whereas
Yeah.
some,
I always
some,
say
some people would not
deciding
feel
who
that
you're
way.
going to marry or raise a child with is probably the biggest career decision you make as
So
as a woman,
true.
which is so true. But what you said is true. I think the pressure is also, after a point, it becomes self-instilled because it's instilled externally so much. And like you said, right, we're lucky, and I think we're still part of the minority where we have husbands, who are, hands-on fathers who actually play an equal role. But I would say, even then, at least something I have experienced is, my husband's hands on right now. I think he does everything except breastfeeding because he can't. But uh, when you see the external, for him, it's in his mind, it's exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and he wants to do it, as you said, something you enjoy. But if you look at it from outside, I think he would be praised for it. Like, everywhere we go, you're like, what hands on a dad, and like, that's amazing, while it's an expectation from me, right? Like, I'm supposed to be hands on. There's no other option there, right? Whereas for the man, it's praise.
Yeah, so true. Um, like, I don't know, you'll see like pictures or videos of, that them holding a baby or playing with a child, and it's just a matter of fact when a woman does that, or a woman brings the child to school, and yeah, it's just so different.
Yeah,
Um,
it's just the way it's received. It's just
mhm.
different.
Yeah,
And that's the funny
completely.
part, the way it's received, because I see it's not that way in his mind or my mind, but it's the way it's received externally.
Yeah, completely. And being like the term modest was really it reinforced for me as a child.
Mm,
And it wasn't solely that principle of like covering your body modesty, but
mm,
like bringing unnecessary attention to yourself, which like
yeah.
how the hell are you supposed to be
Mm,
assertive, lead, get things done while bringing no attention to yourself? Like that's
yeah.
not possible.
Yeah.
You can't achieve greatness. You can't achieve
Yeah.
a lot unless
Mm,
you're being assertive in some way using your voice. Even as a mother, right? You still have to, be assertive to
yeah.
like your children to, ensure your family is successful, have
Mm,
productive relationship with your spouse. So, yeah, and it's hard as a mom of a like my daughter is so driven and so like passionate and
yeah.
expressive, and she also has autism, so we're like trying to teach her social
Mm,
skills that she doesn't naturally like
mm,
just get like other kids do. But I'm
mm,
also like trying to be conscious of not um discouraging her assertive behavior.
mm.
It's such a challenge.
That I think that's so true, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I feel, firstly, that's amazing, and I feel like sometimes in the process of doing that, it's so hard to navigate that I fear often that would I go to the extreme other end, which is not healthy either. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
in the attempt to definitely make sure that I don't do this, I shouldn't be doing the exact opposite that creates a new set of issues. Like that's something I am navigating. I
Yeah.
feel, and again, that's a voice that, and while I'm talking to you, I feel that's again, is it because you've been told you shouldn't push beyond that limit, and as long as it's within that limit, it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, when you
Yeah.
were talking about that, it came to mind.
Hmm. So one of the things that I've done that's drastically helped me transform me owning my power more consistently, loving myself the way that I am and
Mm,
communicating confidence consistently is having supportive voices around me. Like having people who believe in me,
mm,
who are um, like willing to amplify my voice, and I do the same for
mm.
them. It just makes a
Yeah,
drastic difference in how I show up generally.
yeah. I'm so grateful that we're working at this point of time where I also see this happening professionally a lot more, right? These kind of conversations that happen at workplaces now, I think more women are I feel like this collaborative versus
Yeah.
rather than competitive spirit happening, which I love so much because I think again that's one of the things we were told otherwise. Right? It was always there's one seat and you're kind of fighting for it, or there's one man and you're fighting for it. That was
Oh,
always uh, the story behind it, and I'm seeing it. Everyone's kind of breaking that and saying, no, you know what, we have enough and we want all of it and more, and we get it together. And I love that
no.
so much.
Yeah, so true. My mouse just died, so I need to plug it in.
No
Bear with
worries.
me with the technical difficulties. I want to be able to show these comments, and I naturally I need a mouse to do that. So I do have a touch screen, but I'm using my other monitor right now. So
No
give
worries at
me
all.
just 1 second. If you want to keep going on our next topic, and I'll find stuff that I need.
Sure. No, I think we you spoke a little bit about modesty, and I wanted to like add a little there that like I said, for me, I was always encouraged, like you're really good at this, you should do more of this. This is something you should do, but there was still the sense of modesty, and I think where it comes from, a great example is we always ask men, we feel very comfortable asking men about their jobs and how much they make. It's
Yeah, yeah,
so it's such a I don't know why that's the case, and it's the exact opposite for women. So of course men grow up, and that's a different pressure of its own, feeling like they need to always talk about how well they're doing at work, or what is the next thing, or how much money they're making, or what do they think about money, or all everything. We want to know what are their thoughts about money and how much do they have. And when it comes to women, that is the topic you don't discuss much. Like, it's great if you're doing well for yourself. You don't need to talk too much about it. You can maybe say two lines and then talk more about other things, right?
Yeah, 100%. Um, thank you so much, Shachin. Great to hear you're enjoying it. Shadrach, we do have this recorded, so if you want to show your sister, feel
Yeah, I would love
free.
that.
Yeah, share it with anyone you want. We're here to magnify, voices to help people to feel more confident consistently. So yeah, feel free. We'd love to hear, what her insights were as well. One of the things that people aren't really familiar with when I talk about this is it's what's called spotlight effect.
Mm,
And it's when we think people are judging us way more than they actually are.
mm.
If you think about how much you think about your own life comparatively
Yeah.
to, how much you're thinking about other people's daily life, it's
Mm,
there's a huge percentage gap there. And
yeah.
so if you think, oh, I made a mistake, everyone's thinking about it the whole day, they're going to think I'm a fraud. Like,
Yeah.
first of all, if you're giving a presentation, most of the time, people don't even know what it is that you missed or what mistake that you likely made. It just,
Yeah.
like, you just move on because you're the only one that's familiar with your
Mm,
presentation. But if it's other things like, oh, I, sent a marketing email, or, cited something wrong,
mm,
or like sent something to the wrong person, or,
yeah.
there's lots of different mistakes that we can make in the
Yeah.
business world. But mistakes happen, and the more you dwell on them and the more you focus on them, the less confident you're going to feel. Like, you have to
Yeah.
start, like, you're either creating a positive confidence loop or a negative
Mm,
confidence loop, right? If you can surround yourself with people who treat you as the competent, capable, confident person that you want to
yeah.
be, right, then you start feeling more confident. And
Mm,
because people take cues in how confident they feel in us directly from us, then
mm,
people start treating you that way, and then
yeah.
you start feeling more confident, and it just keeps
Yeah.
going around and around and around and
Mm,
around. And surrounding yourself with people is just one way to spark that confidence loop.
yeah.
But remember, if you're having, like, if something bad happened that day, like, continually dwelling
Mm,
on that, you're kind of like reliving it. Same what
mm,
that same thing happens with venting. If you vent
mm,
about whatever happened, like someone mistreating you, whatever, you're actually reliving it, so you're
yeah.
magnifying the problem in your
Yeah.
mind. And I didn't know that for a really long
Yeah.
time. So if you can, telling someone about, your challenges or
Mm,
whatnot, and seeking advice as well to solve them, it's
mm,
different than
yeah.
just screaming about the problem, whether you're
Mm,
increasing the volume of your voice or not, just
yeah.
complaining. And, you should have people too in your
Mm,
life, if you are complaining, that they ask the question, well, what are you going to do about it? If you don't have
yeah.
people asking
Yeah.
you that and you're not following through, like, maybe you
Yeah.
need one of those people in your life who are willing to be kind and
Mm.
honest.
Yeah, and I think that the two things you said there, I think what you ended with right now, and that's actually why people come to a coach as well, right? It's like having a non-biased and safe environment where you can talk about your challenges because, yes, it's on your mind, but with someone who can then, as you said, push you towards the solution mindset instead of just staying with the problem, which doesn't help anyone.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really true. And I think what you said about also uh, the spotlight effect, and where you think people are judging you again, maybe because it's the phase I'm in, and I think that example comes to mind more. But we see that so much with parenting, right? I mean, today, I think mothers hear right from the point they're pregnant to I don't know when, 100 different ways, and I think there's there's so much I've seen with while coaching moms, because I coach a lot of moms also, is just that second guessing, as you said, of feeling like you're being judged if you're going to work, or feeling like you're being judged if you're not. It's both ways. And there's so much in between there. So you're right, that happens a lot.
Yeah, completely. Um, and if you are in an environment where you feel like people are constantly judging you, what would happen if you had the exact opposite? Like, think of all of the
Mm,
people, like, who you have in your life who you feel, might not be giving you the energy that you want, right? If you surround
yeah.
yourself with the people who aren't giving you the energy what you want, who you feel criticized by, who you feel, hurt, put down, and then if you think about the exact opposite, bunch of people in the room where they're all cheering you on, all telling you the affirmations that you want to hear, all the
Mm,
things that you need to hear to achieve your goals.
yeah.
What energy, like, think about the energy and
It's
the
crazy. Yeah.
drastic change between
Yeah.
those two things. So if you have that every single day and you've created an environment where the people in your life are cheering you on, you
Yeah.
will drastically transform your life,
Mm,
transform your confidence, and as a result, achieve your goals so much faster.
yeah. For sure. I think that's why we say, right, that if you have a flower or a plant that you're trying to, grow, and you put the same flower who has the exact same ability to grow, and you put it in a place where they don't have enough water, or they don't have enough sunlight, it's not going to grow. And the same flower is going to grow amazingly well if they have all of that, which is what I think the right environment does for you.
Yes, absolutely. One of the other things that I like to focus on when it comes to spotlight effect is when you're public speaking, focus on the fact that they're there to hear you
Mm,
instead of thinking about, like, oh my gosh, they're judging me, right? When we have
yes.
tons of eyes on us, naturally,
Mm,
there's that anxiety.
mm,
But if you remember that they're not there to think a bunch of negative things about you. In fact, most of them are just like, I hope they do a great job, because naturally they want, to glean something from your message.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you focus on what they need, what your
Mm,
content and message is, not your need to feel judged, not that feeling of like judgment,
mm,
because then you're coming from a place of offering and abundance where
yeah.
you're giving rather than trying to
Mm,
protect your ego and
yeah.
insecurities. Not ego in the sense that like you
Mm,
think you're all high and mighty, just
mm.
in the sense that like you're trying to protect yourself.
For
And
sure.
so
And
if
I
you
think
can
that
do that,
this
it makes a
comes
big difference.
across, yeah, and this comes across, of course, you're given the example of like doing a presentation or being on stage. And I've seen it apply with women across, even when it comes to negotiating a salary, or setting a price for your service or your product that you're selling. Uh, it's the same belief system, all of this that comes into play, that you feel like you're not focusing on the value you're providing, or what you're giving, as you said, and instead you're focusing on the judgment of, they're going to think I'm too expensive, or they're going to think I'm not worth asking for so much, or all those other thoughts that come into play. And I see that playing out so much as well.
Yeah, so true. Um, One of my friends, Karen, is also a career coach here in the US. And like one of her main messages is like that you're a badass, like that you can achieve whatever it is that you want because you are good at what you do.
Yeah.
And however you want to phrase that, how,
Mm,
skilled you are, and being specific about what it is, what those skills are that sometimes you feel insecure about, if you're feeling
mm,
imposter syndrome or whatever that might be, you know, keep in mind that people want to hear what you have to say, even
yeah.
if you feel like, oh, everyone is doing this. Like, for
Mm,
example, career coaching, there's lots of career coaches out
yeah.
there. I do these kind of collaborative lives with lots of different consultants and
Mm,
coaches,
mm,
and everyone has something different to offer. If you're like
yeah.
considering starting a side gig, or if you're, I don't know, just wanting to get a new job, or
Mm,
start a social media following, build your brand, build, and when I say brand, just like your personal brand, even if you're
Yeah.
not starting a business,
Mm,
if you want to do that, then remembering how good you are, what you do,
mm,
and remembering that people want to hear what you have to say because of your energy, your empathy,
yeah.
you know, that type of thing is unique to everyone. Your
Mm,
personality. Whenever
yeah.
someone's considering working with me, like they almost always say, "Oh, I chose you because of like the
Always. People work
connection that
buy
I
from
felt with you."
people. Yeah.
Yeah, the connection that I felt with you, or the
Mm,
empathy that you communicated with, or
yeah.
just the energy that you're giving off that I want in my life. So if
Mm,
you're ever thinking like, oh, what do I have to offer differently than anyone else who can bring something to a role, or as a business, remember that you yourself are unique, even
yeah.
if the messaging might be really similar or things like that.
Mm.
So
For
it's one
sure.
thing to remember the couple.
Yeah, I think it, and I think that's so important to have the awareness around that before it's about, we use the word judgment, we use the word imposter syndrome, we use so many words, right? The different words. And the interesting thing is each of them has a dictionary meaning, but they all have sort of a different meaning to each person. So, for example, if I say the word love, or I say the word money, or I say anything, we each get certain words or a visual or a sound or a person or something in our mind, right? And that's kind of unique to each person. So when I feel like when we are trying to beat imposter syndrome, or we are trying to beat whatever the lack of confidence or any of this, it's first really important to kind of define what that looks like for us, for each of us. And then once you really know what you're dealing with, and that's what it looks like for you, and then you uncover which beliefs are contributing to why that is, and then you work on changing that, and you automatically start changing your behavior, like for example, as you said, surrounding yourself with the right people or making other changes aligned to that.
Yeah, completely. Um, what have you done specifically to build your confidence?
uh I think the fastest one that comes to mind is taking action. I think the more you do something, you give yourself proof of concept that you can. And
Yes.
I think that's the biggest. There's a lot of things, but if I had to pick one, that's the biggest, because the more you do it, the more you're telling your brain that you can, and the belief is getting stronger and stronger that you're
Yeah.
confident and you can and you're good. And I think nothing contributes more than that.
Yeah, reinforcing your skills.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I love keeping a like testimonial journal, whether that be like actual
Love
people
that.
who've
Me
written
too.
testimonials for my
Yeah.
LinkedIn profile, but like also a document where people have emailed me like, hey, I, got an interview, like,
Yeah.
um, or just like this really helped me transform my communication. People are seeing
Mm,
me as more capable, whatever that those pieces might be.
yeah.
Or yeah, when you've had a success, like I tried and I succeeded, or I tried and I learned, even if like you didn't achieve the goal exactly as you wanted. Like
Mm,
just reinforcing the fact that like the effort does produce a positive outcome.
mhm.
Because if you're just focusing on like all of your mistakes,
Yeah,
then you can't start that confidence loop. So just starting in the first
exactly.
place,
Oh,
my business coach, Adrienne Weimer, is absolutely amazing. And that's one of her first pieces of advice is just start. You can't
yes.
wait for perfection if and because
Exactly.
it will never happen because
Yeah,
perfection doesn't exist. And so
exactly.
just starting in the first place will
Mm,
get you farther than waiting until the perfect
mm,
circumstances, or once you have all of your perfect marketing pieces, until you have a certain number of years of experience,
yeah.
whatever it might be. Like just get going on whatever your goal is,
Yeah.
and you'll get there a lot faster because you've
Yeah, you
simply
just keep
started
proving to
before other
yourself
people.
that, oh, I can do this. I know now I can do this as well. I know I can do this. I know I did this again, so I probably do it well. And that it just creates a
Yeah.
loop. So I follow something called the A4 methodology with most of my clients for every session. What we do is A for agreement. So we agree on what are we going to discuss today, so that we are actually going to, resolve something key today. And then there's awareness, which is, as we said, just building awareness around why we think the way we do, why are we procrastinating. There's a lot behind those words, right? And then you actually go to action, which is, I think, the most important A after that, as we said, to actually start small steps working on it. And the fourth A is accountability. So making sure your action plan is something you can stay accountable to, and it's not just good on paper, which means it needs to be custom good for you.
Yes, so true. Well, thank you so much for doing this with me today, Krusha. I'm so glad we were able to finally make this
Me
happen.
too.
Um, Thank you, everyone, for attending. I want to let everyone know that I am doing a drawing this month for anyone who comments on any of my posts. You will be entered
Oh,
into a drawing for a 1 hour free coaching session. So if you are looking for, just some guidance on career strategy, then go ahead and comment on this post or comment on this live stream, and you'll be entered into a drawing for that 1 hour free career strategy session. And once again, thank you for everyone who attended. Krusha, is there anything you want to share with our audience before we part?
oh, that's awesome. I'd say one first grab that opportunity. So drop a comment, and I think that's something amazing that you should take advantage of. And of course, if you couldn't attend, or if there's a question you have that we weren't able to take today, my DM is open. So I'd be happy to hear from you.
Yes, feel free to DM us with any questions regarding this topic or anything else, and give us a follow, and we will see you later on LinkedIn. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks.